Hello and good afternoon, everyone. After finishing our lab today, I realized that many of you need to go back and now do the assessment. I mean, not the assessment, the analysis. Um, and not being familiar with how exactly to do it quickly, I figured I could show you how to do it inside of Google Docs. So I opened up a Google Sheets file. This is my information that I had for our first part of the lab, which is my calibration curve. I went ahead and put my concentration in, that's my X value, into the first column, and then into my absorbance into the second. Now, I did this so that I could figure out what the slope of my line was. And so let's go ahead and take a look at how you plug it in. I'm going to select all that I have here. I'm going to go to Insert and Chart. It gives me some options, but I want to go ahead and look down to scatter. This is my best goal. Once I have that, it's going to give me the option to customize it. I can change my title, concentration versus absorbance. Okay. And I'm going to go down to the bottom or toward the bottom, and it gives me the option to put a trend line. I'm going to insert my linear, and I want to label it using the equation. Notice that it gives me my equation here. So I can now go ahead and put that up. Insert and go. Now, if I wanted to do any further customization, making sure that my charts, my axes are labeled and so forth, I can go in and do all of that. Remembering that my concentration is here and so on. Now, yes, I know I have a typo there. Now, the most important thing I needed from this was my equation of the line. Because remember, the equation of the line, this value here, is giving me the relationship, or basically my molar absorptivity. So I'm now going to use that to be able to calculate my concentration. So I'm going to rearrange this where Y is going to be my absorbance. So Y is absorbance. And X is my concentration. So I'm going to have to rearrange this a little bit in order to do it. Well, I found that if I want to use a Y equals mx plus b, Y minus my B value, which you calculated earlier, in this case I came out with 0.057. I'm going to take my absorbance minus the B value, and then I'm going to divide it by my M value, which you see here, my 0.059. Now, because I don't want to have to do this for every single calculation, I can shortcut it by putting in a formula here in Google Docs. Once I click on the cell, I'm going to hit equals, have my parentheses, and I'm going to scroll over and notice I selected the cell next to it with my absorbance value. So I'm going to do that minus my 0.057, which is my y-intercept. Close off my parentheses. And notice as I'm doing it, it's already calculating it for me. And now I'm going to divide that by 0.059. Once I hit enter, it does the rest of the calculation for me. Now, the reason why I said this saves me time, since I've already set up that formula, I just want to apply it to everything below. So by dragging it after I've selected it, it'll take the formula and it'll apply it to all the cells below it. Okay? Now I have my concentrations. When I go to do my graph for this, I'm going to go ahead and select my time and my concentration values. Insert, chart, chart types. Again, going back to my scatter plot. Customize. And it's concentration versus time is my title. I can go in and label my axes make sure everything is set. I can even adjust my scale from here, but I don't want to do that. I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to insert trend line because I'm looking for the one that gives me the most linear out of all of them. So now that I have that in place, I can observe. I can do my analysis from this to see, is that linear? Well, it seems like it might have been close, but I'm a little bit off. Well, I still have a couple other graphs to do anyway. So I'll get rid of that, and I'll go ahead and get rid of this. I need to do the natural log. Well, equals capital L, capital N, open parentheses. I'm going to select, again, arrow over my concentration. I'm going to close it, and it gives me my value. Again, if I want to apply it to the others, I just click and drag down, and it's going to take the natural log of each of my concentration values. Again, to plot it, go ahead and select both of them. I select it by holding down the control button if you're using a Windows, or if you're using a Mac, command. Again, insert, chart. Oops, too fast. Looking at my data, customize. Now, the reason why I make sure to change the title is so I know which one I'm dealing with, and I can do my analysis correctly. Versus time. Okay. And again, I'm going to insert my trend line. Now, I noted already that there's a little bit of a curve in it. So, in my mind, I know it's most likely not going to be first order. But I'll go ahead and finish that graph and pull it off here to the side. The last calculation that I would have needed to do is the inverse. Now, there are several different functions they have on here for the inverse, so I went about it another way. I'm going to still hit equals because that's telling it I want to start the formula. I'm going to do open parentheses 1 divided by, and I'm going to still arrow over to my concentration, then close it. As I've done before, select it and bring it down. And again, just like I've done before, select both columns and insert chart. Now, because of the fact that this is my final graph, I'm going to look at how my values are and which one gave me the most linear plot. That will determine my order, and I can proceed from there. You want to make sure to answer each of the questions that you have in that part A for the procedure. Many of you didn't answer them before, so now you got to go back to do that along with the analysis and the post-lab questions or the review questions. Take some time tonight, look over what you have, and I'll see you in class ready to go on Monday. Have a great day.